Wait. Stop what you're doing. Because what just happened at Dodger Stadium cannot be explained in a single sentence. It cannot be explained in a paragraph. And honestly, after today, I'm not sure baseball will ever look the same again. Shohei Ohtani just hit his 12th home run of the season. And the baseball world? It completely broke. The stage is Dodger Stadium. The crowd is loud. The energy is electric. Ohtani steps into the batter's box, and before the inning is even over, history is being rewritten one swing at a time. But here's what nobody expected. It wasn't just the home run that sent shockwaves across the entire country. It was what happened after. Clayton Kershaw, one of the greatest left-handed pitchers in the history of Major League Baseball, sat down in front of a microphone. And for over 10 minutes, he broke down Ohtani's pitching technique in the kind of detail that analysts spend entire careers trying to understand. 10 minutes. The clip topped nationwide searches within hours. And then Will Smith, currently on the injured list, watching from the sidelines, opened up about Ohtani in a way that nobody saw coming. Today, we're going to break all of it down. Because this is not just a baseball story. This is a moment that legends are struggling to find words for. Let's start with the 12th home run. Because before we get to what the legends said, you need to feel what actually happened in that at-bat. The pitcher delivers. The ball comes in, an outside pitch, slightly low, the kind of location that most hitters either foul off weakly or chase into the dirt. It's a smart pitch. A professional pitch. Designed to get a groundout or a strikeout. Ohtani doesn't fight it. He doesn't try to pull it. He doesn't muscle it. He simply reads the ball like he's reading a sentence he's seen 1,000 times before, and he sends it on a perfect line drive arc, deep into the stands. 412 feet. Gone. The stadium erupts. But watch Ohtani's face as he rounds the bases. There's no wild celebration. No chest pounding. Just a quiet confidence, the kind of look that says he expected nothing less from himself. That composure? That's what set the legends off. Within hours of that home run, social media was on fire. Fans were posting slow-motion clips of the swing. Analysts were pulling up heat maps. Arguments were breaking out in comment sections about whether this was the greatest two-way season in the history of professional baseball. And then Clayton Kershaw started talking. And everything else went quiet. Clayton Kershaw does not talk often. That's what makes this significant. When Kershaw speaks about pitching, the man with 3 Cy Young awards and a career ERA that belongs in a museum, you stop. You listen. You take notes. So when his commentary on Ohtani's pitching technique ran for over 10 full minutes and immediately topped nationwide searches, the baseball world understood immediately. Something extraordinary was being said. Kershaw started with something that silenced the room. He said, and this is important, that when he watches Ohtani pitch, there are moments where he genuinely forgets he's watching a two-way player. He forgets that this man just hit a home run 2 innings ago. He forgets that this man will walk back to the dugout and pick up a bat again. Because when Ohtani is on the mound, he is fully a pitcher. Not a hitter who also pitches. Not a novelty act. A pitcher. Complete. Total. Focused. Kershaw broke down the mechanics with the kind of precision only a fellow craftsman understands. The way Ohtani loads his hip rotation, deliberate, controlled, generating power without telegraphing the pitch. The way his arm angle shifts almost imperceptibly depending on the pitch type, making it nearly impossible for batters to read the release point. The way his sweeper breaks late, not early, late, so that even when hitters think they've timed it correctly, the ball simply isn't where their brain told them it would be. Kershaw said something that stopped everyone cold. He said that an ERA of 0.74 at this stage of the season, combined with the offensive workload Ohtani carries, is not just statistically unusual. It is, in his words, statistically offensive. Because it makes the rest of us look like we weren't trying hard enough. And then he laughed. But the laugh was the laugh of a man who is genuinely, deeply unsettled by what he is witnessing. Because Kershaw, who has dedicated his entire life to the single discipline of pitching, who has squeezed every ounce of greatness from his left arm, who has studied the craft of getting hitters out with an almost religious devotion, is watching a man do that and hit 12 home runs at the same time. And he doesn't have an explanation. He said, "I keep looking for the weakness. The fatigue. The moment where the two-way workload shows up in the numbers. And it's not there. I don't know where he's hiding it. But it's not there." That 10-minute commentary wasn't just praise. It was one of the greatest pitchers of his generation trying, and failing, to find a flaw. That's the real story. And then came Will Smith, Dodgers catcher, currently injured. Watching from a place no competitor wants to be, the sidelines, in street clothes, close enough to see everything but unable to participate. You'd expect frustration. You'd expect a player focused on his own recovery, his own timeline, his own return. Instead, Will Smith talked about Ohtani. And what he said carried the kind of weight that only comes from someone who catches his pitches. Someone who calls his games. Someone who has crouched behind home plate and felt the velocity of that fastball slam into his glove from just 60 feet away. Smith said that people who watch Ohtani on television, even people who follow every stat, don't fully understand what he is. Because television flattens it. He said that the first time you catch one of Ohtani's pitches in a live game, something happens to you. The sound of the ball hitting the glove. The movement on the sweeper in the final 3 feet before the plate. The way his fastball doesn't just arrive fast, it arrives with carry, with life, rising through the zone in a way that even experienced hitters describe as physically disorienting. Smith said that after games where Ohtani pitches, he goes home and his hand hurts. And he said it with a smile? Because in baseball, that's a compliment of the highest order. But then Smith went somewhere unexpected. He talked about the day he got injured. About watching the team from the bench. About the strange, complicated feeling of cheering for teammates while your own body is healing. And he said quietly, without any drama, that watching Ohtani play through that difficult stretch has actually helped him with his own recovery mindset. He said, "You watch him and you think, there are no excuses. There is only what you do with what you have today." That quote spread faster than any highlight clip. Because it wasn't about baseball anymore. It was about something bigger. Here's what today really told us. It's not just that Ohtani hit his 12th home run. Players hit home runs. Records get broken. Numbers eventually get forgotten. What today told us is that the greatest players of this generation, men who have won championships, who have dominated eras, who have their own permanent place in the history books, are watching Ohtani and feeling something they are not used to feeling. Humility. Kershaw spent 10 minutes searching for the flaw and couldn't find it. Will Smith, one of the best catchers in the game, said catching Ohtani's pitches physically hurts his hand, and called it a privilege. This is not normal. In any sport, in any era, when the legends of the game start talking like this, when they stop comparing and start simply witnessing, you are watching something that happens once in a lifetime. Maybe less. That 12th home run will end up in the highlight reels. Kershaw's 10-minute commentary will end up in coaching rooms and pitching academies for years to come. And Will Smith's words about what you do with what you have today, those will end up somewhere far beyond baseball. But the most important thing that happened today wasn't the home run. It wasn't the viral commentary. It was the image of the greatest players of this era watching a baseball game and not being able to look away. Just like us. Baseball before Ohtani. Baseball after Ohtani. We are living in the after. And we are lucky to be here for it.